Hey friends, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to go over a very easy Eclipse technique. So if you've never done it before, this is a great video to start with. We're going to be using the painted rainbow, which is a cling stamp that I featured in my last video. It's part of the recent release from Simon Says Stamp. And in my last video, I didn't really ink it up as a rainbow, so I told you there would be something coming. And I don't really use traditional rainbow colors for this, but it shows you how you would go about it. So it's a pull apart cling stamp. And as you see, I'm only using 2 of the pieces here because it's easier to ink up each piece separately. And you could certainly just have 1 stamp in here at a time to make it even easier. I'm using Pinkfresh inks today, and I will list all the colors I used on my blog. And you can always find a link to my blog in the description below. So I'm stamping up my second color, and then when I'm finished, I can fit in the other pieces to the cling stamp. Now, a lot of the pull-apart cling stamps that Simon Says Stamp sell have maybe a little bit more distinct pattern to them. Because this painted rainbow pattern is so loosey-goosey, you don't really even have to fit these pieces together perfectly to get, the idea of the rainbow. In fact, you could use just one of these pieces by itself and create a rainbow. So I'm going in with my third color and then my fourth color. The colors that I'm using today are, in my mind, kind of retro. I've been in a very retro vibe lately. I'm not sure why, but that's how I chose these colors today. So here is my last color. And there are a couple other stamps to the set. I could have finished those white spaces in the corners, but I chose not to. And there's my finished panel. All right, so things look different. We're on a black mat. This is about a week later. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I make a background and I let it sit until I figure out what I want to do with it. I have been going back and forth on the white versus the black mat. So I'm trying out the black mat again. Let me know what you think. I'm still not convinced that it's better, but the white glass mat, I think there's an issue with shadows. But here's what I'm doing. I'm using the Slay die, the Slay Everyday die from Simon. And what I'm doing, or what I had already done, is I die cut it out of the middle of my panel. So you can see that I've already die cut it out. Now, the Eclipse technique is you make a background and then you cut something out of that and pop it up. And we're going to pop up the Slay Everyday letters. So I need to adhere my background to my card base. And what I'm doing right now is I'm taking some Altenew satin masking tape. You can use whatever low tack tape you have. And I'm taping those letters in just to make sure they don't shift around. And I'm going to glue the background down. Now the reason I taped my letters on is because there's a lot of very delicate pieces that surround these letters. And if I just glued the background down without the letters in them, then some of those little tiny pieces might shift a little bit when I glue it down, and then the letters wouldn't fit back in there perfectly. So that's why I did that. And now I'm removing the tape. It's not that important to put the letters back in, but again, I really just wanted to make sure nothing shifted around while the glue was drying. And I could have left the tape on there and let it all dry, but I was being impatient and I just wanted to get it done. So now I am going to take all the letters out. And this tool I'm using is the Trinity Stamps Pickup Stick. This is a new tool for me. I actually got it at the Create event that Simon Says Stamp put on in Columbus last month. And this is a gift that Trinity Stamps gave to people who took the classes. at the event. So it's a great tool. I'm really liking it. And on the other side, you'll see me, yep, you just saw me take off that end. That's like a jewel picker, and you'll see me use it for these little die cut pieces. So like I said, your entire background needs to be adhered so that you can pop up your element. And because we're popping up the letters, that means that all of the little bits that came out of the letters need to be part of the background. So I'm picking up that little center of the E with my new little pickup tool. And I will do that for all of the other letters that have centers. There's a couple A's, there's another E, there's the D. So that's what you're going to see me do here. I'm just going to glue all those bits back in. So this is the most important part of the Eclipse technique. Don't lose any of these pieces. And I actually did lose a couple of these pieces and was looking all over for them, and I happened to have put them down somewhere very carefully and just forgot where I put them, because if I'm not forgetting something every 10 minutes, then it wouldn't be a normal day. Sad but true. All right, so we're going to finish up here with the last little piece. And now we're ready to start popping everything up. Now, normally I would cut the sleigh every day, the letters out just from white cardstock, and I would probably cut 3 layers. Well, today I used craft foam. Now, Simon Says Stamp just released some new craft foam as part of their recent release. This is not that foam. I do not have that foam yet, but it reminded me that I have some craft foam in my stash, and I never use it. And to me, it was quicker to cut it out once from the craft foam than 3 or 4 times from cardstock. So that's why I did craft foam today. But you can use cardstock. Just make sure that you use 3 or 4 layers of cardstock behind your behind the top layer. I have heard people say that they've had issues die cutting craft foam. I've never had an issue. This is just your basic run-of-the-mill craft foam that you would buy at any store. So I can't tell you whether you'll have a problem cutting craft foam in your die cutting machine or not. So now that I've glued all the craft foam letters in, it's time to put the original letters back. And by the way, this little bottle that you've seen me using is Gina K Connect glue. I think I've mentioned this before. My habit has become using Barely Art glue for almost everything in my card making. I love the fine tip. And then when it comes to jewels and things like gluing paper to craft foam, I use my Gina K Connect glue. Now, that's just me. I think we all have more than one adhesive in our stash, and we use different adhesives for different purposes. And I am not saying that Barely Art glue would not work for this. I'm sure it does. But I like to give all of my supplies some love and attention, and this is what I personally do. I think I've also mentioned this before. I have lots of different foam tapes and foam dots, and I don't always just use one. I kind of mix it up. So you can see the pattern starting to fill in as I add my letters back. And this Eclipse technique is just one of my favorite techniques. It's just a really great, simple way to add interest to a card, especially when you have a background that you really love and don't want to really take away from. Just grab a word die. All right, I decided to do a little sub-sentiment, and there I'm just showing you how you can see the popped up letters. So I grabbed this little small talk from Holtz, These are like little sentiment stickers, and I'm just going through looking for a sentiment. And I could probably spend all day trying to decide, but I'm finally going to decide on this sentiment, embrace the journey. I kind of am looking at this card as a little bit of an encouragement card. I have a special person that I'm going to give this to. And I love these colors because they're retro, but I also love them because I'm sending this to a special young man in my life, and so I find the colors to be very gender neutral. And I really love how this came out. I love the big sentiment. I love how the sub-sentiment kind of gives the feeling that I'm trying to get across with this card. And here's how it finally turned out. And I'm really happy with it. Again, this was a very fast and easy technique. I hope you'll try it. And please let me know what you think of the white mat versus the black mat. I'm still, and I apologize, I still just haven't decided. I keep going back and forth. I personally find the black mat to be a little jarring, like the white grid to me looks a little harsh. So let me know if you think the same. Thank you very much for joining me today, and give me a like if you liked this video, and I hope you subscribe so that you don't miss any more videos from me. I will see you soon with another video, and have a great day. Bye bye.